hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Pastor's Chat. I'm Pastor Lou Kilgore, and I guess I'll be doing the chatting. You can chatter on your side, but I can't hear you. Glad to be here with you. Good afternoon. It's another day of January doing what it's supposed to do, which is getting very cold and reminding us that winter is real. I look around these days, and it's sort of silly in a way, but I like to take a slice of life and say, now look, here it is. And so when the summer is deep into the summer, I usually take a stop. I stop, I look around and I go, now this is summer. Trees are green, the leaves are full, the grass is green, the air is warm. It's just summer. And I remind myself that it won't always be like this. And then the fall comes, and there's some sadness in the transition, and then there I am in the middle of it. I walk down to the reservoir, and I see a tree on fire with red maple leaves, and I see the shimmering evenings, and my wife and I in the fall will go out for a canoe ride, and I like to take a slice of that life and go, now this is fall. And that's my yawn. One moment in time. I like to take a moment in time to look around and say, here this is, but it won't always be like this. And so today was that day for me. There's snow on the ground. It's going to be bitter cold. And the house we live in now, we're lucky enough to have a fireplace, so build a fire and feel that warmth from the flames that come off from that, and it's cold and snowy outside and warm inside, and this is winter. This is it. And it won't always be like this. I start to look for signs of spring coming, because this is my least favorite season of the year. But here we are. I don't know, maybe that's why the season of Epiphany is set in the middle of winter, because all the distractions are gone, all the things that might lead us away, give us a chance in the starkness. There's no green, there's no color. Well, there's no color as I think about it. There's the grays of the tree trunks and the branches, and everything seems to go to a hue of gray. And the sky seems to me to forget that it's supposed to reflect blue. Good time to be looking for and making observations. It's a good time to be making discoveries. How are you doing? I had a conversation with a friend who was trying to answer that question for me today, how he was doing. And I mean, there's a lot of things in his life that are going well, but there are just so many things that are happening he didn't expect. It's 3 yawns today, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to get to is that today I want to name an awareness that the answer to how are you is often very fleeting. Because you can be having you can say, I'm having a great day. And then you learn something else, and then, it's not so great all of a sudden. And sometimes that gets expanded to seasons of our life. My friend is a little bit older than I am, and he's trying to come to terms with his retirement, and which for him means he's coming to terms with letting go of control of a lot of things in his life. And he's not good with it. He's just not, he's got a good path to retirement, but he's not good with it. He's not okay. So this observation is to be careful, to be aware of how much I love control. I love to be in control. I love to have control of things that really matter to me. And yet life doesn't afford us that. Life doesn't really bring us that. So where do we get that from? The skill for survival and for being happy in life is often about letting go of control. It's about letting go. Being willing to accept help from other people. This is his big issue. I've been responsible in my life for feeling good. I get that sense, the law of God is to take care of others, to love others, and it gives you fulfillment in your life. But also the underside of it is the discovery that, one of the things that we have to learn how to do is to receive, to be willing to receive, to gently and patiently and humbly say, I need some help, and to receive it, and then to be happy and feel successful in having received it. An awful lot of our lives as we get older is about that. But we can hang on a really, really long time in the culture we live in. We can hang on a very long time about being able to do it ourselves. So, to a lazy person, you want to say to them, come on, take some responsibility, do something, get in control of your life. But to a high-functioning person, you want to be able to caution them and put up some yellow flags and say, easy now. Because happiness in life doesn't always depend upon what you can control. Right? That's the serenity prayer. There it is. It just pushed itself right into our chat. Accepting the things you cannot change. And by accepting them, the serenity says, I accept them gladly. I accept them. I accept that, changing the things we can, being in control where we can be in control, where it's reasonable, and accepting the rest. I think I've told you that years ago I had a Gestalt psychologist in my congregation, and she had a pretty big practice, and she would come listen in church and be a part of church, and she always said to me that she felt like my preaching a lot was trying to rouse people to do what we can do, to make the world better, and to do what we can do, and to believe we can do it. And she said her ministry in talking to me was to try to teach me that there's another side, which is learning to accept and learning acceptance. I didn't like it when she said it to me. That's how much I was addicted to in my youth to control. I said, no, that's never going to be my issue. Not that. Not acceptance. But here I am, reminding myself again and chatting together with you that a lot of times when people come in and they sit and they talk with the pastor and they unfold the drama of their lives, they talk about how they are and how they don't want to be and what's happening they don't want to have happen, and how life is not delivering what they want it to be, or they don't feel like they're who they want to be, that as we talk and it comes to close of an hour, it usually comes around to talking about acceptance. It's about learning to accept it, and to accept it in complete acceptance is joy. Accepting a physical condition that leaves you unable to do things like run or walk. Accepting a change in life and income, or accepting a spouse from one of your kids that you don't like. These These are the things that people talk to pastors about. And they want to feel better about them. They want to be able to see how this makes sense. How is this a life? How is it working as a part of my life? And so for the season of Epiphany, for this day, this 28th day in January, a profound dose of recognition of what a gift acceptance is, how it helps us, accepting things as they are. As best as we can determine how they are. Because we don't always see things how they are. But when we see how things are, acceptance. I've been watching, I'm late to the show, but I've been watching Downton Abbey and enjoying it. I enjoy the story of it, the family and the drama, but it seems to me the underlying motif is acceptance. Life is changing things for them. Culture is changing, people are changing, expectations are changing, everything is changing all around them. And the issue of their happiness, together, separately, individually, has to do with acceptance. It does. And it's funny because I don't think of myself as ever saying, accept the status quo. I don't think we should go into life and just say, well, there you have it, that's the way it is. You should just leave it where it is. No, I'm talking about accepting the change. I'm going with the change. Seeing things differently. Accepting that it's different. That's, I don't know. There's a difference in there. One of the themes in the Bible study this morning coming out of Psalms was discovering that through the years of the story of faith, people have had to accept when things didn't work out the way they thought they were going to. How many times they thought they had it down. This is what God is going to do, and this is how it's going to go forward, and they wrote it down with optimism, and then that's not what happened. So they had to, the theologians and scholars have this thing called reworking it. They rework their understanding. Rework it. The biggest example was that when Jesus was walking on the streets of Jerusalem and Galilee and talked about a day when the world would finally be the way God wants it to be. And the disciples then, and some still now, thought that Jesus was going to lead a revolution and make the world God's way and rule the world. And it didn't happen. He died on the cross. And then they thought, well, he's going to come back from, they had the resurrection experiences, and they saw him and they ate with him. And then they thought, okay, well, this is what it's going to be. And it didn't happen. And then he said, I'll come back. And then they began to believe that immediately, very quickly. They didn't get married. They didn't buy houses. They sold what they had, and they were just waiting for Jesus to return, and the world was going to be reinvented. And it didn't happen. They had to rework it. They had to accept a reality they didn't know was on the ground. And they did. And most of that is Christian theology today. We're in the in-between days. So it's Epiphany, my friends. Aha! Aha! Life requires acceptance. It requires acceptance. Go ahead, be rigid, be strong in your expectations. Be strong in discipline and all the rest of it, and be ready. Be ready to accept that you may have to rework it. You just may have to rework your expectations. That's Epiphany, full of discoveries, full of things you didn't see coming. I hope as you experience them today and tomorrow and in the weeks ahead, that God will give you the grace, because that's what it takes, I think. It's grace that allows us to be able to be engaged, but also accepting. It's a balance. So that's my words for today. That's my chat for today. My encouragement to you, I hope it lands somewhere that's important in your life. And I will talk to you tomorrow. God bless you, my friends. Until I see you then.